I'm Bailey Bates. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. As America gets ready to celebrate its 250th birthday, we're looking at the stories that help shape our country. 3 Belton ISD students are earning national recognition for telling one of those stories, winning first place for a documentary on how Sesame Street changed education and changed America. Our Juliana Jackson reports.
On November 10th, 1969, America viewed Sesame Street for the very first time.
Sesame Street has been part of millions of childhoods. It started as a new idea to help children who didn't have access to early education. That's the story Emery, Maya, and Sarah set out to tell.
They all believed that television can't really educate people, but Sesame Street really revolutionized and changed how we now view television.
From Killeen, Texas.
Their 10-minute documentary took first place at the National History Day contest. The students spent months researching to better understand the show's impact.
Sesame Street became a show that continued to reform itself to represent society.
Discovering how the program used television to bring early learning into homes.
We reached out to the University of Maryland, because that's where the Sesame Street archives are, and we got a lot of viewer letters.
But what stood out most wasn't just the history.
They didn't know their ABCs, they weren't able to count to 10, but then Sesame Street was able to be there and be their preschool.
As these students were putting the final touches on their documentary, they updated it to include one of the biggest challenges the program has faced in years.
In January of 2026, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting closed after Congress approved funding cuts. Despite the financial setback, PBS continues to partner with Sesame Street,
showing that history doesn't stop.
The final product and see all the work that you did and how it was worth it. And the end product.
Sesame Street became a television show that reformed itself to resemble a beautiful picture of society.
Well, how neat is that? A big congratulations to them. Well, meantime, Killeen Animal Rescue says they are drowning in requests to help local animals, but there aren't enough foster homes or enough money. 6 News reporter Sydney Walker has more on what the rescue calls an animal crisis and why they're having to slow down.
Animals in need are at an all-time high in Central Texas.
Good animals are being euthanized every day at the shelters. People are just overwhelmingly wanting to rehome their animals. The stray pets on the streets.
Tanya Lawson says it puts pressure on local shelters and rescues, like her rescue, Police for Pets.
We need foster homes to help. We need donations to help.
Lawson is a detective for a local law enforcement agency.
Well, our rescue started out as saving animals from domestic violence situations and crime situations.
And now they help pets from all over.
And a lot of the time, those animals have not had vet care.
Sometimes coming with a high price.
They're completely vaccinated. We spay and neuter all of the animals that we take in. If they have a medical condition, we have to take care of that.
A bill they often have to foot.
If we don't have the donations, a lot of the time, I end up paying for it out of my own pocket.
Like with Groot.
They found him tied up in a backyard. He wasn't really walking well, and he was very, very malnourished.
He had been abused and needed 2 expensive surgeries.
$17,198.
They're stretched thin.
When I say I'm full and you keep asking, it's a huge burden on us and the animals that we already have. They still have to be taken care of.
But they're not stopping, so more pets, like Groot, can find a forever home.
Even on the days that I get frustrated and stressed out, I can look at animals like Groot that wouldn't be here if it wasn't for rescues in general.
And those are your headlines from Central Texas.